I'll play the part, but I won't need rehearsing. All I'll have to do is act naturally.
All right, people. I just watched Wonder Man and it was fine. It was perfectly good. I do want to talk about the comic book and how it relates to the comic book more slowly with just like the films. But just to say the actor Yaha, or however you say that,
John Abdul Madden 2.
This is what happens when you scramble it a couple times.
Yama Abdul Matthews II.
If we don't reverse the tomography in the next 30 seconds, Barnaby won't stand a chance.
I know, Wonder Man. I'm trying.
The only thing you can compare between the past Wonder Man and this Wonder Man is the main archetype, that is imposter syndrome. It hits this really well. And the first Wonder Man went through imposter syndrome when he died, when all of his cells became ionic and he actually became another being. But while he was actually dead, they scanned his brain and added it to Vision. So once he came back into the main Marvel storyline, the main Marvel fold, he had to deal with, you know, looking at Vision and being like, are you me? Are you, who am I? And then on top of that, he was a bad guy who turned Avenger, who was a bad guy who turned actual Avenger, so that's a double. And I think there's more comics that play into it, but that's to my best of knowledge, or what really applies to the Marvel movie. That's about it. At the end of past Wonder Man does become an actor. That's like canonical to the Marvel universe. So it's nice that we're seeing Wonder Man already as an actor, already with his powers, but we're not sure on what level he can use them at. But it's interesting to see him going through the struggles of a normal day man and not really know who he is, or not really, like, we don't know who he is as much as he doesn't know himself, it seems. I think I'm just gonna start spoiling now, so any carers, please leave. Okay. The best thing to say about this Wonder Man is that he kind of sucks. He doesn't really do much throughout the show and leaves me wanting more. And I don't know if it was from me watching it from the second monitor or it was just him. I just couldn't really get behind him. He was really weird and antisocial throughout the show. The first episode, his girlfriend leaves him, and they kind of made it seem like all actors are weird, but it really just came out like he was weird. And to prove that fact, he literally had to go behind his agent's back to get this Wonder Man role that he was born through, literally driving through traffic trying to convince the person or get the information where it's at. Throughout Wonder Man, he's trying to find himself and figure out who he is, but as a watcher, if the main character doesn't know who he is and he doesn't say throughout the entire show and the entire season, he really doesn't allude towards it, and we just have to clue in and we don't really get a good sense of who he is at all throughout the entire show. Other characters, sure, his family life, how he deals with stuff, kind of, but at the end he's just a quiet monster who only cares about acting and kind of getting himself further in life, so it's messed up. When the Mandarin and Stewie comes into the life, and Stewie from Succession, that's just what I'm calling him, it becomes a lot better. The Mandarin actor is just the best and becomes a very large part of the show.
Ready for another lesson?
The Ali Al Salam Air Base in Kuwait was attacked.
I did that.
Pretty scary stuff.
It's called acting.
Just off base, Ben Kingsley is an absolute GOAT, just undeniable. Let's get that out the way. And Stewie from Succession is the best. They're the main pushing cogs of the story. Without them, there is no story. For some ungod reason, Stewie wants Simon in a jail cell because he's a superpowered being. And that actually goes into the best episode of this entire show, The Doorman, which I'll get into that last. The Doorman is like, it's the best show. I shouldn't. I'll get into that last. But the Mandarin part, I really liked him a lot. The Mandarin just as a character, the fact that he was just an actor in the entirety of Iron Man 3, you just think he's like this bad guy, and now he's just like this joke of an actor character. It's just the best. And then in the end, he actually ends up taking the heat for an explosion for Wonder Man, so he becomes a bad guy. So now Wonder Man and the Mandarin are kind of like a super powered team up, so I'm kind of excited to see where this seems like it's open-ended, like it's going to lead into a lot more into the future, so I'm excited to see where that's going to lead into. But again, there's not a lot going on in this Wonder Man thing. He kind of just gets a job. The government's kind of just after him. He kind of just meets the Mandarin. The Mandarin was hired by the government to go after him, and then he just ends up winning, so it doesn't really matter. On to the best thing about this.
Saying he wants us to go through him. How do I do this? Do I just enter you?
I really don't know, really. Hold on, just give me a second.
To wrap up the discussion about Wonder Man and just the thoughts, I know this is supposed to be discussing about Doorman, but I just need to get this video out. But Doorman is the best episode. I love standalone episodes. Mythic Quest has a lot of good ones. Just to make a comparison, Doorman is pretty good. It still suffers the same problem Wonder Man does, that his character always comes out dry. I don't get it. They have the same problem that the character, the Shield, not the Shield, the Avengers, the Shield, the Thing, the Shield, Michael Chiklis, the Shield, their guy Julian, actors who just everything they say comes out so dry and you don't believe them, and you kind of believe them, but you just wish it's there. Maybe that's part of the game. You feel like somebody's holding back, and that's the imposter part of it. But honestly, I just feel like you're a bit of a, but that's nothing. Moving on. Talking about the actual episode, I do love it gives a low-key superhero a spotlight for a little bit, and it's nice to see just a new fresh story. I love new fresh story, and Josh Gad is very funny. Olaf is killing it through the entire thing, but the entire episode, you know, he's more than just a door that he can just move people through. He's not just a door, he's a whole I thought he was going to be the Cloak in the beginning. I thought this was Cloak, but no, it's maybe Cloak's dad. We'll see. But it is awesome to see the evolution of his power. It's nice to see a superhero from beginning to end. I like to see a story. I like to see him develop. I like to see a hero fall and rise, and we don't see him come back up, so I'm interested to see maybe in a season 2 or something you'll see the rise of Doorman or something else of Doorman. But I do love the setup, and I do love lore, so just adding to the lore of the Marvel universe like that with this episode, it just why I watch TV shows. It has my heart. That's probably why I enjoy the Doorman episode so much. I think I'm done gushing about Doorman. I barely gushed. I kind of said a lot of critiquing things, but I'll just wrap it up. Yeah, wrap. Alright, I just wanted to put in a rating for Wonder Man just to start my ratings, and I'm going to put Wonder Man at a 6.2. A comfortable, solid 6.2. 6.5 if I'm being nice. I want to give it the 7. I do, but it's not that good. It's not that interesting. It barely kept my interest. A lot of bland dialogue. I had to create my own self-interest for the show, kind of, so that's why it's getting such a low rating. Alright, I know this doesn't really make sense. It's just my thoughts on Wonder Man, and I just kind of put it out there. You wouldn't believe me how long it took me to put this together, or even build the confidence to tell you people how I feel about this singular TV show and the hundreds of thousands I wish I made videos on. But slowly but surely, I will get better at this. I'll keep posting, and I'll look back at this one and laugh. But for now, I don't know how to end it. For now, I love you. It's been Jax for you. Thank you.
man. Let me